Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. And in today's video we have this 2017 Chevy Silverado, and we're going to do the front grille chrome delete installation for this vehicle. So as you can see, this is how it looks before doing the installation on the grille, and this is how it looks after the installation. So we use the gloss black material in order to black out the entire grille. Link for the product will be provided below. But with that being said, let's get started with the installation video. So before we start with the installation for the front grille, we need to make sure we prep the entire panel. So all you need is water and baby shampoo mixed together in a spray bottle. Once you have your solution, spray it onto a clean microfiber towel and make sure to remove all the contaminants that the entire grille may have. And then once you're done prepping the grille, make sure everything's completely dry. That way the adhesive on the film is able to tack down to the panel. So we're going to start from the bottom piece and work our way to the top. So with this one, just place the film to the panel. That way we're able to work from one end without having the film fall down on us. So you can start from either side. So when you have the film, align it to the curve. And once it's aligned onto the curve, make sure it stays tacked down on one end. And just follow the body line of this section to align the rest of the film. So align it, follow the body line. Once you place the film, grab your squeegee and start tacking down the entire film. Make sure to remove any air that's trapped underneath the film. Take your time going section by section. So right now we're just focusing on tacking down the flat area first. Once you finish tacking down the flat area, our next step is to grab our heat gun and start tacking down all of the edges. Recommend starting from the inner section first, and then once we're done with the inner section, move out to the outer section of the film. So make sure to hold the film and apply heat and then help it tack down with either your squeegee or your finger. So apply heat and then just help it sit on the curve, and then just continue on with the rest of the film. Okay, and now once we finished sealing the top section, you would repeat the same process as how we did for the top to the lower section. Start off around the curve, so applying heat around the curved area, so here and on the other end. And then once we apply heat, let the film cool down, and then either with your squeegee or with your finger, just help it tack down like this. So just do that, and then once this whole section is tacked down, work your way to one side and then work your way to the other end. So once you finish tacking down the entire film, you are going to have excess material on this section and on the other side. So in order to trim it off, just make sure you're covering the entire panel that you're working on. So make sure it has full coverage. And all we need to do is grab our blade and trim off the excess material that we have on the edge here. So just be careful when you're trimming off the excess material, not to scratch the actual headlight, and only trim off what we don't need. And then trim off the excess material on the curve. And now the rest can be tacked down with heat and you should be good. And now once we trim off the excess material, we move on to the next piece. So for the top piece that covers the top grille, that one is a little tricky since we have to make sure the film tucks in underneath the panel here. So all you need to do right now is just place the film, that way it doesn't fall or touch anything else. And what we can do with this one is align it on the edge first here and make sure everything else falls into place. So just follow the body line here and make sure it reaches to the top, and you have coverage on the top section of the chrome. So it should have coverage, should be good. Don't tack it down completely, just make sure it has coverage. Okay, and then do the same for this side. Lift it carefully and tack it down. So now with this one, the trick in order to help it tuck in underneath is we're going to fold it and as we're holding it to fold it, we're going to tack it down inside. So make sure you fold the film, grab your squeegee and start tagging it inside. And once a certain amount of film is tucked in inside, then everything else should just go underneath. But make sure you remove all the air that's underneath the film and then tuck it in underneath. And you would stop like around here before the curve, because around the curve we're going to help it tack down by applying heat since there's a lot of tension here. So for the curved area, all we need to do is just hold the film, apply a good amount of heat, that way the film loses the tension it has. Once you apply heat, use your finger or your squeegee and help it tack down slowly like this. Just help it sit around the curve. And you just continue on until you reach to the top. So make sure you don't crease the film, and then just continue until you tack down the film underneath the grill. And it should look flat like this, and everything else should be covered on the edges. Help it tack down on top, and the same steps that we did here, you repeat it to the other end. And then once we tack down everything, we apply heat just to help the adhesive on the film activate faster and sealing the edges where we overlap the film. And then once we apply heat, we'll trim off the excess material. So now we're moving on to the middle section. With this one, the film covers the lower section of the grill. So make sure you align this cutout to the lower section here. So align it and cover it on this edge right here. And just make sure you have coverage throughout the lower section of the panel. Once it's aligned, lift it carefully and just follow the alignment of the grill on the lower section to align the rest of the film. And then the same steps that were done here, repeat it to the other end. Okay, now go ahead and grab your squeegee and just tack down this entire panel. And once we're done tacking down everything, seal the top edge here. That way, once we install the next piece that covers this section, we're good to go. So everything's tacked down, grab your heat gun and apply heat to help it seal, and then trim off any extra material that we may have. Grab your blade and just trim off the extra material on the edges and on the lower section here. And then once that's done, we can move on with the next piece. So when it comes to installing a piece that covers this section of the emblem here, of the lower section of the emblem, start by aligning it on this edge, and we're only covering the flat area. It's not covering the edges of the emblem. So once you align it there, just follow the rest of the film and align it to the body line of the grill. Just like that. And once you place the film, go ahead and grab your squeegee and start tacking down the film. Make sure to remove all the air that's underneath the film. And then we're going to apply heat just to help it tack down faster. And then once we help it tack down around the edges as well, we'll trim off the extra material. Now we're moving on to this piece. So when it comes to installing the piece that covers this side, place it there, and you want to start by aligning it right on the edge. Make sure you're covering the material on the edge of the emblem here. So it should be like this, and the rest should follow through, following this section of the emblem. Once it's secured here, lift the film and just tack it down to the rest of the panel right here. Just like that. And if you need to lift it to remove any fingers, you can. But that's pretty much it. all we need to do now is just make sure we grab our squeegee and start tacking down the panel, helping remove all the air that's underneath the film. And if you have air trapped, lift the film to remove it, or just squeegee it out like this. And then lift it to help it tack down around the curve in case you need to. Before we trim off the extra material, we need to make sure we seal the top edges with heat, and then once we seal everything, then we could trim off any extra material. So for the top piece here, just make sure you align this section of the film to where the cutout or the edge of the emblem is located. So place the film down, align it right on the edge, and this one you could tuck in the film underneath the grill. So align it right there, lift the film carefully, and just follow the rest of the panel. So follow it until you reach it to the other end right here. To install this piece, we'll do the same method as how we did it for the bottom section. We're going to fold it and then just tuck it in underneath. So fold the film and just tuck it in, and do the same for the rest. Once you've placed the film and it's been tacked down, grab your heat gun, apply heat throughout the entire panel, and once we help the film tack down, then after that we can remove the extra material. And the same steps that were done for this section of the grill, repeat it to the other end, and then finish off by installing the piece that just covers this top layer here. So now we're installing the piece that covers this top surface where the emblem is located. So with this one, all you need to do is just align it to the top edge of the emblem, so roughly around there, and then just work your way in installing the rest of the film. Use your squeegee to tuck it underneath, and then apply heat just to help it tack down around the edges, and then we should be good. So once we finish installing the whole entire piece that covers the middle grill, now we can start with the top section. So with this one, it's a long strip that just covers the lower section of the grill here. So with this one, start from one end, and then once you align it on both this section and on this side, just follow the design of the panel until you reach it to the other end. And if you need to lift it and readjust it, you can. Just lift it carefully and realign it. So once you place the film, grab your squeegee, start squeegeeing the entire film that's underneath the grill here that was installed. Make sure to remove all the air, and then once everything's been tacked down, we're going to apply heat and then trim off any extra material that we have on the edges. Okay, so once we finish installing the lower section, now we can move on with the middle piece here. So with this one, align it from one end. You give yourself enough material just to cover the edge here, and then just follow through. When you're installing this piece, just follow the body line of the grill on this middle section here to align the film, and then just follow through with the rest of the film on the grill. Once you place the film, grab your squeegee, start tacking down everything. Make sure to remove all the air that's underneath the film, and then we'll apply heat to seal the top and the bottom edges. Apply heat, and then we could trim off the extra material. So for this piece, all we need to do is make sure we align this section of the film right on the middle. So when you see the vehicle, you are going to notice that the grill has a body line going down the middle. So that's where you will align this section of the film. So align it right on the body line, and you could overlap it just a little bit to the other side, and just make sure you have enough material to cover the top as well. So that should be good. All we need to do now is lift the film, follow where we left off, and just make sure you cover the entire chrome. Once you place it, now we will grab our squeegee and start tacking down the whole entire panel. Make sure to remove all the air, and remember to squeegee at an angle That way we don't accidentally crease the film. And then just tuck in the film underneath the hood to cover the top section. And do the same for this curved area. And now just apply heat to seal this entire top section here, and then we'll trim off the excess material. Okay, and then just trim off the excess material on the top section, and then we should be good. Okay, and the same steps that were done here, you would repeat it to this side. And once you're done installing everything, we would move on to the chrome panels that are on the side of the headlight. So for the section where the headlight is located, place the film right on this section here and align it to this edge here. So make sure you're careful when you're aligning it. That way we don't accidentally tear the film. So align it to this edge first. And you may have a little bit of excess material. That excess material, we can just trim it off. So just make sure you have enough to cover at least the chrome on the inside. Now this is tacked down. All we need to do is just grab the film and align it to the rest of the panel. Up to the edge here, and do the same for the top. Just lift it carefully. Make sure it stays aligned, and you're following this design only, so the lower section. So place it and help it tack down. Once you place the film, grab your squeegee, start tacking down the entire panel. And for this area here, just help it tack down by applying a little bit of heat and then tacking it down, since there is the curve. But first remove all the air that's underneath the film. And with this one, you can tuck in the film underneath the headlight, as well as this section here. But first apply heat to seal everything on the curves. Once you apply heat, just make sure everything stays tacked down. Remember, you could tuck in the film as much as possible on the inside. Just lift the film carefully from the lens of the headlight and then tuck it underneath. And then just don't forget to tuck in underneath here. Apply heat just to help remove the fingers, and you should be good. And now just trim off any excess material that we have that we don't need. So for example here, carefully just trim off the excess material. Okay, and then we move on to the middle piece. So with this one, all we need to do is just make sure we align it to cover this top section of the curve. So give yourself enough material, since this portion is already covered. So you could use this side as the guide in order to align it and work your way to the other end. So just make sure you align it in the middle and you're covering the top. Place it and then just follow through with this side and then follow through with the other end. So lift it carefully, place the film around the curve, make sure it's flat, and then just follow the design of the panel. Just take your time aligning it and following the design. If you need to lift it to readjust it, you can. Just lift it carefully and make sure it's just covering this section. So for this part, in order to remove the fingers, just lift the film carefully and squeegee at an angle. That way we don't accidentally crease them. Once you make the fingers smaller, grab your heat gun, apply a little bit of heat, and then we'll be able to tack them down more better. Grab your squeegee, just tack them down slowly. Make sure to remove all the air and then just follow through with the rest. And then just apply heat and with your finger tack it down on this curve. Grab your squeegee and just start tacking down this curve. And then after that, any excess material we do have, we will trim it off. Just make sure everything gets covered on this side. And then now we can trim out the excess material and then move on with the next installation. So for this piece, align it right on the edge, so you can place the film and align it to the edge here, and everything else should just follow through. Make sure you're covering the edge and just follow through to the rest of the panel to here. Lift it carefully and just carefully place it. You give yourself a little bit more material just so you can cover the top section here. So align it where you left off here to the edge, and the rest follow through. Grab your squeegee and start tacking everything down. And then around the curved area here, we're going to hold the film, apply a little bit of heat, and then help it tack down. So hold the film, apply heat. That way it loses the tension it has around the curve, and then help it tack down. And you could do the same on the bottom section here, apply heat, that way we can start tacking it down. Squeegee at an angle, make sure you remove all of the air underneath the film, and then just tack it down. And then follow through with the rest of the installation. Once everything's been tacked down, we will go ahead and just create an outline just to make sure where we need to trim off the excess material. Center your blade and just trim off whatever we don't need. And take your time trimming off the excess material. That way you don't accidentally expose the chrome. So it should be covered. So once you finish installing the entire grill, the last thing to do is to grab your heat gun and apply heat throughout the entire front panel. That way we help the adhesive on the film activate faster. And once you're done post-heating, then we're done with the installation. So just make sure to take your time when you're doing this step. Thank you for choosing Bogar Tech Design. As a small business, your support means everything to us. If you loved your product, please drop a review. If you have questions or issues, don't forget to message us via email. Once again, thank you so much for the support from our family to yours. So that concludes the installation video for the front grille chrome delete installation for the 2017 Chevy Silverado. We hope that this video helped you guys out with the installation. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of our upcoming installation videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.